Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the No B.S Zone. I am here with you all today, waiting for my girl to come in. Hi. Let's have you in here, girl. Let's put some music on. I've never felt like this before. Here. Go live. Hey! What's up?
Hi, girl. You're
Oh,
so
I'm loving the
cute.
lipstick.
So it's two different colors, my favorite. So let's get started talking about beauty tips while we're on it because it's
Hey.
important, y'all. Hey, share the beauty. So I combine two colors and I love it. My favorite is first one is NYX
Oh,
because this is a soft matte. It's Istanbul because it's matte. It stays on. It doesn't come off. But then sometimes it dries out my lips. So then I double it with Elf Joyful. So these are probably my favorite. I even had my lips done. I'm ready to do it again. Was it like 6 months ago as a tattoo with the
oh,
Istanbul, like microblade. You know, like people like I get my makeup microblades, like my tattoos, or I'm sorry, my eyebrows are tattooed, my eyeliner's tattooed, my lips are tattooed. So when I did do it,
beautiful.
yeah, because I hate doing makeup.
It's
I always joke around
easy,
my people that
practical.
I'm such a tomboy in a perfect world eventually, you know, because I do now that I'm in Texas, I need to get my eyelashes tinted because I just want to wake up, maybe put on a little bit of mascara, some lip gloss or Vaseline or whatever, put on some retinol and be on with my day.
Hello. Very practical, straight to the point. Let's go.
And
Just wanted
they
to
are
say,
very cost effective. They work better than some of the more expensive brands. And I'm not big on makeup, y'all. So I'm not going to drop money. I love Elf and Clinique. It's the best makeup.
I
Anyways, that's your makeup
know.
tip.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Brooke. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today at the No BS Zone with Brooke and Shirley, where we dish out tips and tricks on business, mindset, and wealth creation through real estate. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And today is going to be a little different, okay? Today, we're going to talk about, some of our stories where we've gone through, the W-2, corporate, getting out of corporate. How does that look like now for us? Having to go through paycheck to paycheck, having to figure out what healthcare, those are things that are very, very important for a lot of us to think about and to plan, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about our stories and how we've navigated those areas. Obviously, Brooke, she has, her own journey with some of these items. And then I do too with others, right? And so for sure, let's pick it up, Brooke, if you want to, start with it. What do you think uh, has been some of your biggest challenges, given that you took the leap of faith? And this is one thing that a lot of people don't do. The normal person just won't do this. But for some of us that want a better life and that have a bigger vision for our lives and our families, you got to make decisions. And so for Brooke, she was able to say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm in corporate. Yes, I'm successful. I'm making all this money, but I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. And so, Brooke, tell me a little bit about your journey in taking that leap of faith and making that change in your life.
So, one, I'm very passionate about this call. I'm glad you discussed this because our biggest focus, as she disclosed, was, the living paycheck to paycheck, as well as unequal pay and medical and all the things money, right? The money woes, let's say. So, I was in corporate 23 years. And some of the things, and I have, a couple of stories as well, but I would be so frustrated being a top agent. And I was living in Northern California at the time. And then somebody in Kentucky or the Midwest was making, 80, 90 grand more on their base and you're living in Kentucky when I'm living in California, one of the most
Mm.
expensive places in the world. And I know my worth now was a better seller. My numbers were out there, the whole 9 yards, right? So, and yes, it was a guy, and yes, I was the only man or the only woman on the team, but that was very common. Like once you're so used to that, it is what it is. And yes, I took that leap of faith of leaving corporate. I started reverse engineering my goals back in 2021 because after 22 years of always either fighting up against men or just not having unequal pay, and still sometimes, especially even in California with inflation going up, living paycheck to paycheck, it was really frustrating. But what I have written down, because me and Shirley like to put some thought into these calls, is where did this stem from? And so one of
Mm.
my earliest memories was being in college and seeing credit card companies having little setups and recruiting college kids for credit cards,
Mm.
soliciting. And to me, I kind of blame the government on this because boom, college teaches you how to work for other people unless you're in a trade and you convert that to a business. So colleges funded by the government, credit cards funded by a bank, which is watched and regulated by the government. And then we're in college, we're young, we're 19 or in our 20s, and we're being recruited to sign up for these credit cards. So why is that important, especially for someone like myself who did not come from a wealthy family or any type of financial acumen, like, and it's crazy. So I took on those credit cards. And I remember when I got my job when I was in college, I was severely living paycheck to paycheck, so bad that I would even take paycheck advances, which is one of the worst things you guys can do, y'all. That's why you'll see cash check advances, paycheck advances, some people even offering to use your car as collateral in poorer neighborhoods
Mm.
because they're not getting the financial education that they need, right? And so between being in college and then being a single mom, because I didn't have that education, I had it finagled where, okay, an NSF fee, is it $24 or $30 or something? I go, if I pay my credit card from this account with $1,000 overdraft, I will pay one overdraft fee and I'll get $900 and I'll put it on that credit card and that'll help pay for the food for my kids
Mm.
or for this or that. And this goes back to us just not having the right financial acumen as far as living paycheck to paycheck or having unequal pay, etc. Because in the beginning of my corporate journey, I didn't know how to ask for a raise. I didn't know how to ask for my worth. I just took what was given to me. And as you grow and you invest in education or you find mentors within the corporate space or other spaces, you then start to look and tally what you're worth. And you start reverse engineering everything that you want and every day take small action. I know that was a super loaded question, or an answer, but I wanted to shed a little light on the history
Yeah.
on why? Because too many people are embarrassed to be living paycheck to paycheck. And Forbes, even when I was in California, which is one of the biggest reasons I moved to North Dallas now, is I was making at a six-figure base. I was making, damn, mama, thank you, a lot of commission coming in, and with inflation just skyrocketing and PG&E, who I can't stand, constantly increasing our electric and gas bills 3 times, and within 3 months and within January being 22%, like everything's going up, and that except for our paychecks. It's
Yeah.
so frustrating to feel that, like, man, you're making 6 figures a year and you're still tight on money. It's not cool. And I'll pause and stop talking for a second because I know I threw a lot at you guys. But I also, Shirley's going to share some stories on where she might think it stemmed from. Those are where I feel personally it stemmed from me and where I'm at now, which will be later. And then we're going to discuss how to prevent that. Like, what am I doing now to make sure I'm not in that situation again? So I'll pass the
Yeah.
mic to Shirley Baez.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting that you say, for those of us who are making six figures, it seems like you don't really see the money because
Don't.
it seems like the system is made to squeeze the middle class or the
Oh,
upper middle
oh
class,
yeah.
right? It's
Oh
like
yeah.
we get punished. We
Yep.
get plummeted for making this amount of money where we gotta now pay this insane amount of taxes to pay for these other things for more of the lower class, I guess you would say, right? Or to pay for other things. And it's kind of like, you feel trapped, right? Because you don't know what to do. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, well, should I just go on my own? Like, is this even worth it? Right? For me, it was a little different, right? I grew up in a household where the mindset wasn't there for wealth creation, making money. It's like money came in, money went out, like nothing, you know? I it was crazy, right? And just to go a little bit, more in the personal side, and I'm not afraid to say it, but my mom, she had some issues with money, right? To include even money that I would, put away. I would probably come back and don't see it there, right? And so, and I mean, that was years and years and ages ago, but just to kind of paint a picture of the mindset, right? So I didn't grow up in an environment where I was thinking about long term, or I was thinking about delaying gratification. That is something that I learned throughout my way in growing and going through those growing pains of understanding how money works, right? And so when I had my real job in the military, conscious or subconscious or unconscious, whatever you want to say, call it, I knew in my heart that I needed to, if I made $300 a month, I knew that I had to put away at least $100 or $150 in a savings account. It's just something that came so natural to me because in my mind, I'm like, this is the way I grew up. It was very painful. You know how Tony Robbins says that you try to do everything you can to not feel the pain. You do everything you can to not feel the pain. That I was very intentional about putting away money so it'll grow for me. And that helped me so much throughout my trajectory that I was able to foster a good nest egg for what I'm doing now. For the living paycheck to paycheck, my first job out of the military, that was something that I got into it out of fear because I didn't know if I was going to get it. That's the mindset, right? It's like we're so used to
You're in
working
survival
for the system.
mode.
It's
Survival
survival
mode.
mode. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're so inclined to be in the rat race.
Right.
And so I picked a job that wasn't for me, wasn't my persona. And then I was getting paid less than I was actually getting paid in the military. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I was like, no, this is not correct. And it was months and months and months until I started getting depressed about it. Not only am I doing something that I don't love, and mind you, the people were amazing, amazing people, but the job wasn't for me, right? I didn't put thought in it. And so I didn't put thought in the money that I was making because I wasn't even getting paid enough. Again, I was falling into that trap of living paycheck to paycheck until I did what you did and I quit. I came to the realization this is not for me. I need to do something different for my life. If I want to start, because that's when I started getting the idea of wanting to become a business owner. And so I started thinking if I want to become a business owner and really live on my own terms, I need to change the status of where I'm at right now. I still know that I love teaching, coaching, and mentoring. So what does that look like, right? And so I had to really reflect, sit down and reflect and rejot and redraw the map, my blueprint, right? And so during that time, like I tell everybody, I took a sabbatical. I took a 7 to 8 month sabbatical, uh, relook at my finances. We have a nice and awesome sheet to put all your finances there. If you guys want it, it's automatic. It does the automatic numbers. Just DM us and we'll send it to you guys. But if you kind of want to go back to the bare basics of understanding where you're at financially, utilize that Excel sheet. It's already pre-programmed to tell you where you are at, what's your net worth, and what you owe, right? And so I sat down, I did that, and I knew, hey, I need to start honing down on what I'm worth. If I'm I'm already entertaining the fact that I want to become an entrepreneur. I'm not maybe necessarily ready yet to leave corporate, but if I'm not ready yet, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now be intentional about doing something that I truly love, which is teach, right? And so the planets aligned because I started thinking it and wanting it and seeing myself in that, because that also helps me with our coaching program. That's more practice for me. Being exposed to my students, seeing feedback from them, right? One that I posted today, so that, for example, that'll make me and Brooke that much more better with our mentees, right? And so I was blessed to utilize my network, which is another live that we did that you should all see, with networking with intention, right? Utilize your network to get you to the next step. And so that's what happened for me. And so, I'm teaching, and the great thing about it is that when I came in, I knew my worth and I asked for it. Know your value, know what you bring to the table, ask for it. Don't be ashamed. A lot of us women, we feel ashamed and shy, and it's kind of like a taboo to ask what you are worth. Like if somebody's going to scold you or whatever, right? I just closed my eyes and said, you know what? I know what I bring to the table. I took this time off. I became an author. I want to dabble into entrepreneurship. A lot of jobs now, they want that entrepreneurial mindset to go into their organizations, because that's when you make a difference. You start thinking outside of the box and you influence others, right? And so I asked them what I worth. Guess what? They said yes, and they hired me right away. So now I get to do what I love. I'm getting paid what I want and needed at the time. And I'm also fostering this wonderful relationship with Brooke in establishing our coaching program to give back to others what we've learned, and what we're actually making through all of this, right? Because this is not just monetary. This is fulfillment too. This is filling your cup and establishing and building your legacy. I mean, I know I also went kind of long in that, but I still also, at one point, to be totally transparent with all of you, face the elephant in the room of knowing when it's the time to say, I can gracefully transition from the traditional job to really putting my 100% into fostering this business, right? Because as women, we think we can do it all at one, but there's got to be a point where you have to do the pivot, right? And I am getting there, and by doing these things with all of you guys, you all help us and support us in getting that much closer to our ideal, our ideal state.
So whenever people are talking or having a dialogue back and forth, I always like to take notes to kind of go back, and it helps prevent me from interrupting, jumping in, right? So there's a couple of things Shirley said that I want to touch on. So one, she discussed knowing your worth. And it's more than just like, I'm a good person, I'm cute, I do this, I do that. Track what you provide to the company. So whenever I had to go to the negotiation table, and don't just wait for your annual review, y'all. Stop giving the W-2 control over your money and your future. Stop it. Have an Excel spreadsheet, or however you choose to organize your thoughts, or the notes in your phone. Like for Q1, I was number 3. I was number 5. I led the initiative of employee appreciation. So that's essentially what I did. So when I was at AT&T, I led the whole West Coast for employee appreciation. I was part of external affairs, Chamber of Commerce. I spoke at all these events, but I also helped with marketing. And then I was responsible for Northern California and Nevada for all these technicians and putting fiber in these buildings. Well, we started doing and why is that important? Because referrals, I was getting referrals, and then I was getting exposure, and I tracked everything. So then I went to my director or my VP, and I was like, hey man, look at all the technicians that are now sending me referrals. Look at this, look at that, look at the employee appreciation, look at the engagement through Chamber of Commerce and external affairs, and look at the engagement I did for, YouTube. Big shout out to Flow Beds in Fort Bragg, where we did a marketing video with our AT&T marketing team. Document everything that you do. So then you go to that table, you're saying, hey, and y'all, do research on the role that you're in. Look at the national average of what that person gets paid and what is the average of what that state or county, for me, I was in the Bay Area near San Francisco, what they get paid. And when you go to the negotiation table, I do not give a specific number. You advise from this range to this range, but y'all make sure in that range, that low range is actually your high range, and that high range is, that's my shooting for the universe range. So I don't care what you pick, I'm in here or here. That's it, and this is why. If they decline or if they're this or that, right? Now you need to keep the options open. It is now time to brush up your resume, y'all, and it is time to look at other things. So I just wanted to elaborate when she mentioned asking for your worth. It's not just like, oh, I'm worth it because I'm a woman, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm a queen. Yeah. That's great, but numbers don't lie. Track your stuff. Two, I always, so whenever people are talking about their hiccups, and we are going to talk about how to prevent these things, right? Y'all, I have a few things I want to share with that. So if I was Shirley, I'm going to put myself, pretend I'm the most beautiful Dominican Shirley Baez. I know she has a government contract. I know you're still in a commitment, but because I know more people want to take on the entrepreneur journey. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's crazy because you are your stability, right? If it were me, because she's already an investor, I eventually would sell my house, rent it out. Well, probably sell it for me. I want all the money. And then all of the profits, I would split up into bank accounts because y'all, banks are only insured by the FDIC by 250K. So break that up and have that run your entrepreneur journey. Just a thought. So, because when you're ready,
For
and
sure.
then you can get yourself a cute little condo on the beach. So I have a place to go on the beach.
It's
But
coming,
anyways,
girl. It's coming for sure. No, definitely.
selfishly,
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things where, you plan it out,
right,
you understand, okay, the value of your home. That's something that I'm working through, selling it for sure. And then, maybe going into a small, multifamily.
right.
That's another thing. I can utilize my VA loan to do that. And a lot of the soldiers that are taking that initiative are very smart in doing that, right? Have somebody else pay for your rent or your mortgage, right? And so that's on the works, that's on the plans. And it's so interesting that Brooke brings that up, like just giving you points on, if you're wanting to stay in corporate, that's fine.
If you're
That's
happy,
totally fine. We're not. Yeah,
make
if
sure
you're
you're
happy.
happy. If you're
Yeah,
happy, okay? Life's
absolutely.
too short to be miserable.
For sure. And if you are staying in corporate, make sure that you understand the health care options that they have there. Make sure that with everything, you have some type of nest egg or emergency fund, right? There's a percentage that you have to also take from your paycheck to reinvest it in assets, right? And for us, that is real estate, basically, right? Or put it in a high yield savings account. Okay. There's a lot of different healthcare options, and then definitely financial planning and budgeting. That's another thing that we have to do. And I know Brooke does it now more because you're kind of on your own now, basically, right? You cut the umbilical cord. So now you have to be just smart about, budgeting, right? That's all of us. So no, those are good. Oh, and then having smart goals. Very is so important. Just having the smart goals and putting out a plan of action of,
Break that
the
down,
things that
Shirley.
break
For the
it
people out
down.
there who don't know, do you recall what that acronym means?
Yes, it is smart
So
goals. Let's
it's like,
go.
hold on a
Sustainable.
second.
Yeah.
Measured,
Measurable,
attainable.
attainable.
What was the R? And then
The
like,
R
damn
is
it. I knew what it was and I kept repeating it in my head. I was like, okay, I want her to tell the acronym what the SMART goal
oh
is. And I just lost it
man,
myself. Y'all,
for
I'm
sure.
sorry.
But
I
but
put us on the
basically,
spot. We failed.
no, no, it's okay. But
I'll
overall, SMART
Google
goals
it.
really, it's really putting you in that mindset of,
Yeah.
these are the things that I want to do. This is the realistic steps that I got to take. This is how I can measure it, right? And this is how I'm going to attain it. So it's going to be the blueprint for you all to follow to get to your goals, right? And so always have that in the back of your mind, always have that on a whiteboard, always have that on your blueprint. That's always going to help. Also, you know what, one of the other things that's working for me, because to be quite honest with you, my debit card has been like compromised several times. I don't know what's going on. And I told you the story about the $3,000 from my
Oh
account, and
my
I'm like going
God.
insane. So, I've had to be a little bit smart or think outside of the box as to how I'm going to utilize cards, right? And so lately I've been using my credit cards to pay my bills. Not only am I accruing, points, but then other amenities that I can utilize it, right? For my travel and, just for buying other things. So, but make sure that if you utilize your credit card, you are paying it off really quick, right? You are paying it off and then you're utilizing it, because I mean, what am I accruing with my debit card? No, nothing really. So that's why I'm very intentional about utilizing my credit cards to pay my bills. And I know Julie Roy did a post on that, which is,
Yes, love
which is,
her.
yes, I love it, because that's exactly what I'm doing. There's just people, I don't know what's going on now, that people are just getting into your accounts and doing all these crazy things. And I'm like, oh my God, they're just getting more sophisticated
Yes.
by the moment, right? And so let me see, what else do we got? What else do we got? Oh, fear of investing. As women, we are so fearful to take the leap of faith again and invest in things that we don't necessarily know. That goes back to education. You want to build wealth for you and your family long term. For us, again, it's real estate. It's a long term game. Okay. Delayed satisfaction. Instead of me, if I'm investing in a multifamily, right, versus putting it on a mutual fund or whatever, where the market is probably going to go up and down or whatnot, I know that on a quarterly basis, I'm going to get a check for that, right? It's not going to go up and down or be volatile. I know that it's going to be set in stone, that every quarter I'm going to get what I'm going to get. And trust me, it's a lot more than what you get from your mutual funds and other things that we are traditionally investing on. So that's one thing also for ladies to take into initiative, because, or into consideration, because we think about things too much. We're thinking about it too much. Well, I don't know, or education. Well, get educated. I mean, get educated. You have Brooke and I to give you some education and resources for you to start looking at this as a way to say, man, I'm protected. I can diversify. I can actually get tax breaks. I mean, it's all about the money that you keep, right, Brooke?
Yes, yes. And essentially, what gets measured gets managed, right? And I know we're running a little over, but I want to make sure that me and Shirley also share with you how to prevent some of these hiccups. So I always want to make sure that we give you action steps that you can take now. So, one, and a lot of people have heard me say this because I'm going to give you 5 things. One, stop keeping up with the Joneses. Stop. Half these people don't like you
For
anyways. Okay?
sure.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. They don't pay your bills. They're not part of your retirement. Like, get real. 2, join an investment community.
Oh,
That's what helped me. And that's how I met Shirley and a lot of my business partners who are now some of my besties, right? I heard their stories and their journeys and how they started. And I kind of just dogpiled on top, like, okay, no, if they can do this too, and they're with me, I can do this too. So there you go. 3, have a money date with yourself.
oh,
So I got this from one of my other mentors that I love, Rachel Rogers. We Should All Be Millionaires. Get the book. She's freaking fantastic. So I used to do this every quarter. Now we do it on a monthly basis. Where's my bills at? Where's my investments out? I have a schedule, or what they call an SREO, a schedule of my real estate assets. So I see, okay, here's my net worth. This is where I'm at, da, da, da. There's also apps like Mint that can tell you what you're worth, but whatever, I'll do it manually. I would call it better. 4, stop comparing your progress to other people that are light years ahead of you.
Mm,
I am definitely guilty of this. I have a few people in my ecosystem that I dearly love, and I see how far they are, but then I'm like, Brooke, they've been doing this for 20 years.
for
They are like
sure.
way further ahead than you are. So breathe, chill, and continue to take action. And lastly, I surround myself with reminders. Y'all, I have little post-it notes. I have a vision board. It allows me, and even on my reminders on my phone, every day a pop-up on my phone says, you are an investor, you are an investor, you are an investor. Why is that important? It reminds me to not let short-term pleasures mess up my long-term gains. I need to be reminded. I'm a consumer too, y'all. I like nice stuff, but I also need to
Yes.
know that, one, especially now I don't have that corporate stuff, that big base. I am the breadwinner, and that's why I love Shirley sent me this phenomenal post the other day. I forgot who the girl was from, the big marketing girl.
Amy Porterfield.
Yes, her.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was me. It was at first like, okay, because I'm the breadwinner. I retired my husband. He sold his business to come here. My family's all here with me. And I felt like, well, I can be resentful. Like, here I am busting my ass in corporate all the freaking time, and he gets to run his day out as he chooses. And now we're both doing that. So I'm going to stop. And I think that, and I hope we provided you value, but I also want to hear from Shirley. What do you do to prevent yourself from getting into financial mishap now that we've been in that situation of paycheck?
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm still paycheck to paycheck because I'm such a baller on a budget. I have a
And
budget for everything.
that's
That'll never
great.
really change.
You are a baller. Hey, I'm a baller on a budget too, and I have a corporate job that I'm good right now, but I don't even look at the money. The money for me is for investing,
Right.
for long-term gain, right? Because I see myself at the end of the tunnel living my best life. That is my
Envisioning. Yes.
exactly.
Talk
So I don't
about it.
even,
Talk and that
girl,
part.
you know.
Envision. Sorry to interrupt you. I want you to elaborate on that.
Yes.
Y'all got to see the commas in your bank account before it's there. Talk, Shirley.
Let me tell you, look what I have. This is something that I make sure that I have. Like, I
I
made a check
love
and
that.
I'm paying myself $1 million because it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. And that's on my vision board.
I
People
have.
like this thing is real because when you believe it, you can achieve it, right? And you'll do everything in your powers because you say, even though I work in a corporate, at whatever moment I can be terminated. It doesn't matter,
Yes.
right? So at
Yes.
the end of the day, you know your value. These are my 3 takeaways for you all. Know your value. Okay. Know you're the MVP of your life. Okay. Get educated. Get educated. Finance. Go to YouTube University, Finance 101. It helps you and shows you how to budget correctly, right? And you got to know, and I said, got to, where you are
Got to
at
know.
financially. Know where you're at financially, get educated, and understand and hone in on your negotiating skills, because you don't only do negotiations when you're in corporate. You do negotiations every day.
Yes.
Every day. Every day. So those are my 3 takeaways. And then the bonus is the SMART goals, okay? SMART goals, SMART goals, SMART goals, okay? That's all I got.
And don't forget to DM us if you want that spreadsheet that helps you calculate. Thank you for that reminder, Shirley. And then we can share that with you. It's free. So appreciate you guys for spending time with us. We're so grateful. Any last words, Shirley? I think you said the last
I
words. We're just dragging
think,
it out.
yeah, we're good. Just close
We're
it out,
good.
girl.
All right. Crack the wealth code. No BS zone, no bullshit, no fillers, no fluff. Just giving it to you straight. Let us know if there's anything y'all want to hear. Mwah. Besos y brazos, y'all.
Love you, girl. Love you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Te amo.